Okay. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, it is the last day of 2021. Let me just move this cable out of the way. It is the last day of 2021. And I think it's almost a fitting moment that we reached this chapter. But before I dive into the Quran, let me just say this. I hope you had a safe year. I hope you manage to find some things in your life that can bring you joy, solitude, hope, because as far as I'm concerned, hope and faith are the central tenets of human achievement, ambition, drive, and happiness. I hope you were able to find all of that and in the year that has gone by. If you hadn't, one of the reasons for reading this book, at the end of the day, it is a book. One of the reasons for reading this book is so that we can see there have been others before us who have had very difficult lives. Of course, the beast of burden that was thrust upon him and others like him, Jesus, Moses, Noah, so forth, Buddha, other caliphates, other caliphs. There's so many people, kings, scientists, literature giants. There's so many people who have had to wrestle with that dragon, who have to tackle that giant within, and have to bear the burden. This is one example of that. So if your 2021 has not gone well, it's okay. Try not to go down the spiral of self-pity and self-hatred and self-immolation. Try not to go down that path. I know it's easier said than done, but I am living proof of someone who struggles with that spiral and tries not to go down it. So all I'm telling you is what I know. Try not to go down that path. If you believe in religion or if you believe in God, try to read these books. I have to tell you, I only started reading the Quran in detail once I decided to do this series of the next 114, 120 weeks. That is when I started reading it. What is interesting is that I find a lot of overlap with what I have in my own life. I always start comparing, well, I was experiencing something very similar. And here's this gentleman whose religion we follow, and he was experiencing the same thing 1400 years ago. So it reaffirms me about the consistency of human nature and human experience, but also it gives me hope that thankfully my circumstances are not nearly as difficult as Prophet Muhammad's or Jesus Christ or Moses or whoever else who you follow or value. They've gone through a lot of difficulties in their lives to reach where they want to reach or to accomplish their purpose or to go towards their calling. We really have not experienced that in that uh, magnitude, if I may say so. Some of you may have, but I personally haven't. Thankfully, I haven't. I also have some ambitions, goals, and achieve. And obviously, once you push against the wave pushes back at you. If you've ever been to a beach, so I understand the ebb and flow. I understand the resistance. So if the resistance, or if the absence of achievement, or if shattered dreams, or loss of health has colored 2021 with a depressing shade for you, I would encourage you to leave that shade behind and to continue to grow forward. It is only a part of us. It is not all of us, it is a part of us. And to read these books and to try to open yourself, if you're not religious, fair enough, read something else. Find solace wherever you can find it. Find it in music, find it in art, find it in science, building, whatever you can find it. But try to find it there. Because try to begin the next year as if on purpose. Try to wake up as if on purpose. And you'll see that once you orient your mind in that direction, your body starts following. Once the body follows, the mind is rejuvenated and tries to do the same thing again and again. So if the year has been difficult for you, as it has been for so many millions of us, with all the love and respect in the world that I have for whoever's listening, please take my words into account. Please consider them. This is not your life if it's difficult, and this is not your life if it has been easy. Understand the temporality of all things in life, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. And I'll pray for all of you. Chapter 11. The name of the chapter in Arabic is Ad-Duha. Here it means the forenoon after sunrise. In other translations, it also means the morning light, the morning bright, and I've given some other explanations. This is a very important chapter, and I think it's only 7 or 8. Oh no, sorry, it's 11 verses. 11 verses. The next one is 8. 11 verses, and it's a very short revelation, but it came at an incredibly opportune moment. As you saw last week on Christmas Eve, I discussed the 10th revelation. So 10 revelations had happened. A lot of information had been provided to Prophet Muhammad, and he was inundated, for lack of a better word, and overwhelmed even by the amount of information that he was receiving and conveying further. But it's not just the information. He's not a machine. There's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of light, and there's a lot of intensity in the way a revelation is revealed. At least that is the belief in Islam. And it may be the belief in other religions too. We can uncover that when we reach there. But scientifically speaking, I'm not going to assess that, because scientifically speaking, I'm not that strong in understanding electromagnetism or light or so forth. But in Islam, the perspective is that a revelation has weight, it has gravitas, it has light, it can affect your senses or your nervous system, it can affect your nerves. That is the belief. So there had been a break. Prophet Muhammad hadn't received revelations for a while. And he started to worry. He started to question himself. He started to think, what have I done wrong? I haven't done anything wrong. If I may put this in perspective, you send somebody, a friend, a loved one, a parent, or an employer, a WhatsApp message. They read the message, the tick turns blue, but they don't respond. What do you feel? Try to think of that. Second scenario, you send the message, but the tick doesn't turn blue. You don't even know if they've read it. Third message, somebody who always calls you, but you can't call them back. You just don't have their number or their details. And you look all over the internet and you can't find them. What do you feel then? And this person that you're trying to reach is somehow very important to you, whether you love them or they pay you a salary or they're important to you or they're your best friend, blah, blah, blah. You are not hearing back from them. Now imagine that scenario and multiply it maybe by 1,000. Because here, this person, Muhammad, has accepted that the messages I'm receiving through revelation is from a divinity, a God who I have started believing in, who I have started what's the word? Proselytizing on the basis on whose behalf, or spreading whose message. That is the case, and that God has shown me things, empowered me, strengthened me, guided me to the truth. I have tried to follow those steps as well as, and now all of a sudden there is no communication, none whatsoever, and it stops, and you start questioning yourself. This has been mentioned in previous chapters. If you remember, I think it was chapter 3 or chapter 4 where God was reminding Muhammad, it's okay, step by step, we'll get you there, it's okay. And it happens again. That is how transient, insecure, and uncertain the human heart is. You all know this to be true. You've all experienced it. Whether it's a loved one, worker, a paper, a book, anything that you have put out into the world and are receiving something or waiting to receive something and you don't get it back. Isn't it difficult? That is uncertainty, and the human heart is not really equipped to deal with uncertainty. You have to train it repeatedly, and even then, we end up coming short. So, uncertainty was happening at this point because Muhammad knew what he did wrong. The truth is, he did nothing wrong. But at that point of time, we stop being objective. We start being very subjective and we start being very inwards. And Muhammad started thinking, what have I done wrong? Why isn't God speaking to me? Why has God forsaken me? What's the matter? And then God said, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, by the forenoon, after sunrise, by the night when it darkens and stands still, your Lord, O Muhammad, has neither forsaken you nor hates you. Imagine receiving that revelation. Isn't it a sigh of relief? I can tell you, if I'm waiting on a message or a call, I am relieved when I receive them. That's it. I'm relieved even when I receive an explanation for lack of communication. Oh, I was busy, so on and so forth. Oh, I didn't see your message. Even that is a relief. Imagine receiving this from God. He's neither forsaken you nor hates you. Muhammad was feeling that my Lord hates me. My Lord has forsaken me. What have I done wrong? Imagine the magnitude of self-doubt, self-pity, self-hatred almost, because Muhammad is feeling that God has forsaken him and hates him. And that is why this verse is so specific. Your Lord has neither forsaken you nor hates you. I can't tell you. Imagine the amount of relief that has washed over Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he received that. And indeed, the hereafter is better for you than the present life of this world. Now, this is a common theme that we see in a lot of religions. Fair enough. We also saw it a few weeks ago, also last week, that the hereafter is better than the life we have here. Okay. That is probably a rhetorical device, a projection, metaphor, framing, because we will not get to that life until we get to it. And when we get to that life, we will not have this life anymore. So to tell us that is probably a device, but it is a device predicated upon hope. So it also tells, because Muhammad is not in the best state of his life right now. He is somebody who is experiencing deep bouts of self-doubt, self-hatred almost, because he feels that his Lord hates him, and now his Lord says, I don't hate you. And then another consolation, and indeed the hereafter is better for you than the present life of this world. That is another consolation that Muhammad is being given by the Lord. And verily your Lord will give you all good, so that you shall be well pleased. See, you know, how interesting is it? See how it's built? The sunrise, the forenoon, then the night, and all that scale is then narrowed down from the scale of God to the scale of man. Do you see how interesting? God's such a poet. I have to tell you, when I do see you, God, I will talk about why poetry was the best way to go forth with it. But look at how it's framed. Isn't it incredible? It starts with the light and the night, and then God and man, and the love of God, and God not forsaking man, and God not hating man, and then hereafter is better than the present, and your Lord will give you all good, so that you will be all pleased, well pleased. Isn't that amazing? So the cup that was empty for a while, which is Muhammad's heart or soul, is now being filled, and filled up to the brim. Isn't it incredible? If you've ever had the experience, I know in English we don't use the term cup and filling of the cup. It's not a very common term. But in Islam, and maybe in Hinduism as well, filling of the cup is very, very important. It refers to the human heart, the human soul, the human capacity to take knowledge and love and light and so forth. And the Muhammad's cup had been empty for so long because no revelation had come. And now all these three things: we have not forsaken you, we do not hate you, uh, the hereafter is better than the present, and we will give you everything so you are well pleased. Isn't that incredible? Did he not find you, O Muhammad, an orphan and gave you a refuge? Yes, he did. And he found you unaware of the Quran and its legal laws and the prophethood and guided you. And he found you poor and made you rich, self sufficient, with self contentment. Did he not? Yes, he did. Therefore, treat not the orphan with oppression. Same message as before. Same message. And not the beggar or anyone in need. Don't repulse them. Don't shoo them away. And proclaim the grace of your Lord, the prophethood, and all other graces. And it ends. And it ends in grace. This is such a beautiful chapter. I can't tell you. It ends with such grace, doesn't it? Because now God is making his case. I would never use the term plead for God. I don't know if God ever pleads his case, but God is definitely making his case. How? Your Lord will give you all good so that you shall be all pleased. Well, did I not find you an orphan and gave you refuge? Did I not find you unaware and gave you guidance? Did I not find you poor and gave you and made you rich, self-sufficient, self-content? Did I not do that? I did. So I'll do this too. You need to see, have blind faith in me. This is what's going on. So, because I'm going to do that, I've done all those things. I'm going to do those things. So, what you need to do is care for the beggar and the orphan. Again, Islam, with all its love and empathy and sympathy and compassion, again and again, it's the same story. Isn't it surprising? Because today, there's a large portion of the Muslim, I wouldn't say a large portion of the Muslim population, but there's a substantial portion in the Muslim population and a large portion of the non-Muslim population who have very negative views about Islam, who's reject it as a religion of peace. Fair enough. I think that's not the best definition in any case. It's a religion. But they always tie it to extremism and war and killing and Al-Qaeda and Taliban and ISIS and so forth. And fair enough, a lot of people have taken that religion and turned it negatively to harm the others. And we actively decry and denounce those people. And if you want to come after me for saying that, go right ahead. I couldn't care less because my God is with me. But the truth of the matter is, even last week, today, and a few weeks before, I am just reading a direct translation of the book for you. I'm not doing anything else. I haven't written this. I'm reading a translation. And you are seeing a constant reminder of looking after the orphan, looking after the weak, looking after the beggar. It is a constant reminder. It is almost a central theme next to believe in God and the rules of God's law. This is the other central theme about mercy and compassion and love. Isn't it incredible? We must look at this book from that perspective as well now. And that is what the case, because I'm not making any of this up. All of this is happening in real time while I read with you. The truth of the matter is that a break was given so Muhammad is not overwhelmed. And over time, he develops endurance and strength and understanding to bear the burden and gravitas of a revelation. That is what had happened. But because God is so smart, I have to say, saw this as an opportunity to build the case further. The video is dark and disappeared. How is that possible? I hope you can see it now. How is it dark and disappeared? Oh yeah, very right. I don't. Why is my video gone? Wow, what is going on now? Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you, Roy Suleiman. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I had no idea. I don't know why it even happened, to be fair. But thank you for watching. Thank you for updating me. I'm nearly done. But yeah, God is so smart because God saw this as an opportunity to put forward this case. We have not forsaken you. We do not hate. We have given you all of these things, so you should give what we've asked you to give to the beggar, to the orphan, to the weak, and and proclaim the grace of your Lord. I mean, that's how it ends, in grace. And I can stop here. The next chapter is, very interestingly, the chapter that is also arranged after this one. It is called Surah Ash-Sharh, and it means the opening fourth. Very short, eight verse chapter, but it's very, very important as well. My Lord, this is a wonderful chapter. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And it ends in grace, which is how I'd like to end today's session, and end this year, to be very honest. As I mentioned in the beginning, it has been difficult. Let me try to promise you that it will get better. And if it doesn't, please reach out to me. I'm substantially accessible. You have LinkedIn, you have Facebook, you have YouTube, Twitter. I am here for you, whoever you are. There are people who have contacted me around the world, from India, from England, from Canada, America, Turkey. I have to tell you, I'm shocked by the amount of people one can meet online. And we talk about different things. Help me, and some of them I help. And that is the center of all religions, and center of all divinity, and center of all human emotions, of love and kindness. Thank you, Rohai Suleiman. Happy New Year to you too. And this is another example. This is another example of someone who's not here in Montreal, not sitting with me, who's communicating with me. So if you are feeling down, weak, broken, lonely, reach out. I will promise you that I'm here for you. And I'll try my best to be in touch. And I'll try my best to communicate. I don't consider myself a famous person. I don't consider myself a successful person or a rich person. I don't do any of that. But what I can give you is understanding. I can give you a listening ear, and I can give you what I have been through in life. And if any of that is useful, that is all one can do for their fellow men and women. So I'm happy to do all of that. And if you don't want to reach out online, try to reach out to someone in person. If you're in Montreal or Canada or England, reach out to me in person and I'll come see you and we'll have a wonderful time. So let's end this video with grace. Let's end this year with grace, and let's begin next year with hope and with faith and with a lot of light in our heart. I promise you, life is not as difficult as it is right now. It will get better. It always does. I am living example of it, but there are countless others much better than me, greater than me, who've been through the same. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve and have a great New Year. See you next week. Take care.